Hello and welcome to Lauren.live. Thanks for tuning in today. This is the Spirituality, Health, and Lifestyle podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, you've got the video version, and if you're listening on Apple, Spotify, or any of the other major platforms for podcasts, you'll hear the audio. And thank you so much for all of my new subscribers and followers on YouTube. It means so much to me that you are tuning in and supporting. I know it's a busy world out there, so to catch anyone's eyes or ears these days is very humbling, and I just hope that you're enjoying the material. And we have some really exciting guests coming up in the future, some Zoom guests and some in-person actually interviews. So you'll want to, if you are listening on audio, you might want to head over to the YouTube channel, Lauren.live, and you can find all that information on my Instagram page at RealLaurenLive. It has a link in my profile that will take you to my website and all the platforms that I am showcasing this material on. Okay, so enough of the chatter. Let's get into today. Today, I'm going to kind of just speak from the heart. It'll just be a quick one. I wanted to say hello to everyone that's new following me. And for those of you that have been listening, you know I have a heavy spiritual context on my podcast. It's what fuels my soul, and I feel that I am here as a communicator on earth. And I've had a couple really cool readings lately from some different mediums and channelers, and there's been common themes, and they keep telling me I'm here to communicate. And I feel good about that. I feel like, okay, this podcast, like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. It's very, affirming to hear that. And I actually had a reading years ago from a psychic, Travis Hill, actually, who I did an episode with. You have to scroll down my videos and look for that one. And he told me he saw YouTube in my future. This was years ago, before I started this, and I never really thought, like, a YouTuber, I'm not into that. Like, I don't know, like, I'll go on YouTube if I want to, like, look something up or, like, watch a clip from something. But, like, I never expected myself to be in this position sitting behind a camera, like, on YouTube. But here I am, and of all the platforms I am on, this one seems to be taking off the most. And so I'm very grateful for that. But I wanted to talk a little bit about patterns, which I've talked about before in my manifestation and angel numbers video podcast. I'm noticing a lot of synchronicities and patterns in my life, and I want to remind you to pay attention to those if you're noticing those in your life as well. They definitely mean something. I believe it's the universe presenting something to you to get your attention. And I've had some really interesting patterns come up, and I also want to touch on the physical realm, us being here in this physical realm. So when I was thinking about material for this week's podcast, I decided I'm just going to sit down and speak from my heart. I don't have any notes, so I'm just winging it as per usual. I do a little research before I have guests on, of course, and prepare some questions, but I'm pretty casual and like to just kind of shoot the shit, if you will. So I wanted to talk about this. I was thinking about it when I was showering today. Like, what am I going to talk about? And these things just kind of were coming through. First, I want to talk about the pattern thing. I had spoke about angel numbers. That's, if you aren't familiar, when you look at a clock or your watch or your phone, and you see like 222, 111, 1111, 1212. For me, sometimes I'll see 505, 606, 707. Those are called angel numbers, and that's a form of synchronicity. And that's not just like you're sitting watching the clock and then you're like, oh, I saw 1111. This is like, you don't look at your phone for hours and you look and you're like, there it is. Or I'll wake up in the middle of the night and go to the bathroom and I look at my phone and it's 3:33. And I'm like, that's just weird. Like, the synchronicities, like, it happens often. So pay attention to those. You can explore your angel numbers online if you trust the source. There's many different places where you can look that up with the meaning behind the numbers. But 1111, 111, those are common, pretty like spiritual numbers for sure. And it's just kind of reminding you that you're in sync. And sometimes it can be your guides that are coming to talk with you or are showing you a sign, letting them know you're here, you're in the right place. So With that, it's not always numbers, though. It can be animals that you see. It can be, in this case that I'm going to be talking about, a subject matter that keeps popping up out of nowhere. So the example is Kundalini yoga. So I've never done it before, and I need to look more into it because this has been a pattern that's popped up in my life in the last week, I would say. I had a reading actually with Travis Hill, who I have on my podcast before, and I'm planning to have him back. So you'll get to know that name. I really respect him. He's a sweetheart, and he has some really amazing channeling skills. He told me that my guides told me in the reading to check into Kundalini yoga. And I really don't know too much about it, but it is a form of really spiritual form of yoga and a less mainstream form of yoga. A lot of us, go to yoga, hatha flow or Bikram or hot yoga or whatever. And you do a lot of stretches and there's some meditation aspects and breathing, which is beautiful. I love yoga. Don't get me wrong. This is supposed to be a lot more, there's like chanting and different like sayings, and you can kind of get into the root of the back of your spine to clear out things that have been dormant or past traumas, clearing yourself. That's kind of the basics of what I understand. I haven't looked into it again, so people that know more about this, forgive me if I'm butchering it, but that's just, I did a quick glance to kind of look into it. And I need to research it to see if it's right for me because I actually had another channeling where she said just be careful about it because it can open a lot up. And I think that's the thing with spirituality is you need to do what's right for you at your pace. And, I think people, whether you go to church or whether you're just openly spiritual, whether you meditate, whether you see a medium, whatever spiritual work that you're doing in your life, manifestation, you'll notice things kind of come and go. You might get really heavy into one thing and then you kind of ebb out of it a little bit and then you flow back into something else. I used to go to yoga like twice a week religiously, and then, no pun intended, religiously. And now I haven't gone in a long time. Now there's been some things with restrictions with COVID and then I had a baby and, I'm just not doing things like that as much anyways, but you'll notice that things come and go in your life, and that's totally fine because that's part of life and that's part of your spiritual growth. But respect your journey is the point, and look into things. So if someone tells you to do something like Kundalini yoga, I was told to do by one. Another said be careful about it, protect yourself. You're very sensitive. You need to protect your crown chakra. And it might be pretty intense. And some people have had really great experiences with it. Others have not. And so I want to look into that. But I want to remind you all, too, to respect and research and do things at your pace. Just because someone tells you to do it, listen to yourself, listen to your higher self, right? So my point is, with all of this information coming, it's been super exciting, these readings, but it's also been like I've heard one thing here, one thing here, it's differing, I need to find my own truth, but it's becoming a pattern. And then thirdly, randomly, I love listening to Luke's story. He's one of my favorite podcasts out there. So Luke's story, I'm putting this out there, would love to have you as a guest, manifesting that in, but his podcast is super, super cool, and I've learned so much about him. It's the Lifestylist podcast, and I listened to an older episode of his on Kundalini yoga, and it was fascinating and interesting. So in 1 week's time, I've come across 3 different places about that. So that was my example. So pay attention, because something with that, I believe the universe is telling me, like, check this out. Check this out. I have not heard of this ever. Like, really, ever. I've heard about it maybe here and there, like small amounts, but 3 times in a week where I'm like, whoa, what's going on? So it is possible, too, that, my higher self is telling me, like, go check it out, and it's just coming through. It's channeling through these places. So that's another thing, a different way of looking at things. You could look at signs as just like a coincidence, or you could look at signs and patterns as the universe or your higher self actually trying to tell you something. But you have to be able to kind of, 1, recognize it, and 2, figure out, like, what does it mean? Like, decode that. And that can get tricky sometimes. You might have a dream that's repetitive. Pay attention to that. In conversation with people, pay attention to that. This is another crazy thing that happened to me. And again, you could keep saying these things are coincidences, but after a while, it's too random and crazy to be a coincidence. I really believe that these are signs. So many of you who are in the spiritual world probably know of Dolores Cannon. She's no longer with us on this plane, but she is a pretty well-known spiritual speaker. You can find her on YouTube. Highly encourage you to check her out. She's amazing, and I've watched some of her videos. She talks a lot about the shift of the new earth, and she's talked a little bit about ETs and different things like that. But I knew about her, again, hadn't thought about her in a while, maybe even like a year. And then my sister-in-law, who's kind of diving deeper into her spiritual growth and awakening to a lot, we talk here and there about that kind of stuff. And she sent me a Dolores Cannon video. I'd say it was early last week. And she's like, hey, check this out. And I was like, oh yeah, like I'm familiar. I've actually watched this, but I rewatched it, and thank you. And then 2 days later, I had a reading with Travis. Didn't talk a word about her name with him, and he was doing a reading on me. Had some of my guides step forward. One of them was my great-grandmother, and he's never met her or seen her, and he described her to a T, and it was her. And then he also said, this is wild, this is crazy. This is the first time this has ever happened to me, because he knew she was. He goes, Dolores Cannon is stepping forward as one of your guides. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is crazy. For one, like she's kind of, I don't want to use like famous, but she's known in the spiritual world. And I'm like, what? Like, that's crazy in itself. And then two, again, hadn't talked about her, heard about her, read about her, seen her on, a video in a long time. And then 2 days before, my sister-in-law sends me Dolores Cannon. And I'm thinking to myself, like, this is just too weird to be a coincidence. So, and you can always just take these things with a grain of salt, but why did Travis like bring that up in my reading? Like, he wouldn't just make that up, like this name. He was just like mystified that she stepped forward, and it was really a neat experience. So I'm sure she's a guide to many. It doesn't make me special or anything like that. There are guides out there, as many of you know, Archangel, Michael or Gabriel, that you can access them. Anyone can access them. So maybe Dolores Cannon is guides to many people, who knows, but I thought that was really neat. And I just believe everything happens for a reason, and some people don't know who she is, and so that wouldn't mean anything to them. But I asked him in the reading, I said, well, is that why I know who she is and I'm familiar, and I watched her videos over the years and I came across her? And he said that she said that there's no mistake about that. So again, pay attention to things that are popping up in your life, because I don't think it's by mistake. I really think it's the universe working for you. So that's kind of the first part of this podcast, is I just wanted to remind you to pay attention to the synchronicities and the patterns in your life. Some would call it a coincidence, but I really don't think that they are when they're like that. And when they're so random and closely like lined up together within a week or a month, you come across something that's really connecting a dot. Stop and think about it and really do the work. And what is that message coming through? Because it is a message from divine coming through to you to help you here. So if you're open and receptive and you pay attention more, looking around, listening, you'll start to notice these things coming in. And the more that you open up spiritually, the more you notice them. And you're just like, okay, like here it is again. There's 11:11 on the clock again. There's that pattern again. So it's really neat. And I really think it's just almost like a little like, hey, reminder that your guides are here, or hey, you're doing great, or universe saying like, hey, there's so much more out there, but you're doing great, and you're loved, and just keep exploring and evolving. So I think these things are given to us as a gift, and some would, it's faith-based if you will, but I also think it can feel more like a, not tangible, what's the right word? It just, again, just like a sign that like you're in the right place. So I just wanted to like mention that. And then Also, I wanted to talk about something else I've been thinking about that I thought could be helpful for people listening that either are struggling or are on, a spiritual quest, trying to figure out their place here on earth and why we're here. Um, just such a blessing to be here on this physical plane. And the spiritual stuff is all, you know, in a way, like it's in the clouds or, you know, you can't see it always and you just think about it or you're getting things coming through, but you can't necessarily touch it. And um, to be here, wow, what a cool experience. Many of us believe that we reincarnate and come to earth many, many times, or maybe not many times if that's your soul's destiny or journey. But coming here is a gift, and a lot of people believe, myself included, that we pick to come here, and um, I don't know if I want to use the word a volunteer, but it is often used in the spiritual world. We come to help. We come to help people in many different forms. Often your occupation can be why you came. If you were in like the health profession, you're supposed to help people physically or mentally. Um, or if you're like a caregiver, you're here to help people in that aspect. If you're a spiritual channeler, you've come to help people awaken to that side of things. So I truly believe that we do pick to come here. We pick our families, we pick our bodies, we pick our names, we pick the major milestones in our life, how we come in, maybe our occupation, potentially our like soulmates that were linked up with soul families. Those are people that are close in your life. And how you die. That's often kind of already planned out, but then obviously we have free will as well. So you can also kind of shift your story a little bit too with the free will. So the idea behind all that is that we're here and we choose it, but we don't remember it. And so hear me talk about the veil often. And what that is kind of like an amnesia. We don't remember where we came from. We don't know anything else but right here, right now. And so some people's veils are thinner, or they have the ability to tap in or channel to the divine source, which you could call God or the universe, consciousness. Um, and then some of us don't necessarily have like those powers or abilities, but we do have an like intuition, like an innate feeling inside that there's more, and we know it in our experiences and just like what makes sense to us. And then there's some people that don't have any of those thoughts, and every one of those is just fine, equally as great. We're all on different paths here and different timelines, uh, but we're all here. And we've all chosen to be here. And some people that might have harder things that happen in life or have really great things that happen, it's all part of kind of what you chose, but also it's helping evolve your soul, but you're also helping others with that. So, for example, if you came into a hard family situation, or um, you were born with like a physical ailment, for instance, that could be something that your soul chose because it needed that challenge in order to grow. Or maybe someone in your family, like the mother who birthed that child, also experiences challenges with that. And that was something that they had to go through as the caretaker. So I think if you really reflect on your life and the things that have happened, the things that are happening, and you're conscious to it, it kind of helps with our existence here. We determine if things are bad or good. We're the ones with emotions, but in the universe, things are more neutral, and really, it's all about like love and positivity. There is evil and bad, of course, but I've heard from many sources that in a more heavenly realm, there is basically an overarching, like, I want to say it's a feeling, an overarching essence of just love. It just is so powerful, and that's all there really is. But here on earth, we're very unique because we have feelings. And we have joy and happiness. We have sorrow. We have sadness. We have, sense of humor. We have pain, um, all the things. And it's easy when things are good to say that this is a great place. And then, of course, when things are hard, why me? This is too much. I can't handle this. Or, maybe you choose to see the silver linings and the opportunity to grow when things are tough. Um, I believe when things are presented to us that are hard in life, that it's a chance for us to grow further, because without sorrow and pain, you don't always appreciate the good as much, and you might become at a standstill. Whereas if something tough happens or challenges are presented, you have a chance to be humbled and really grow stronger. And that is the whole point of, why we're here, is to ascend and keep evolving. So I've been thinking about this so much, this physical realm that we are in. It is amazing and all encompassing. And when I say it's amazing, I even mean the hardships and the pain, all of it together. We have the experience here, the chance to feel all the feelings. And it has been said that not all planets and not all realms have the ability to feel the way that we feel here. So that in itself is such a gift, to have the experience to go through all of the emotions, even just in a given day. Think of all the different feelings that you have. And even if they're more neutral, they don't have to be dramatic, but just a small letdown, and then a kind of a happy moment, and just a kind of a neutral day, and then a really hard day, and then a really amazing day. I think of the range of emotions you've had today, this week, in the last year. It's pretty incredible. Like, really, it is incredible if you stop and think about that. It's such a blessing for us to be able to be here and experience all of these feelings and all of these experiences that we're presented with. And um, I think a huge part of my growth right now has been with my baby daughter. She's 6 months. Talked about her a little bit on some of my other episodes. And, my husband and I would pray to her and pray for her when she was not here in this realm yet. And, not knowing for sure where she's coming from, but I knew she was somewhere in the universe, and her soul was waiting to come into a physical body. And wow, what a gift. It changed the way I view childbirth and having children. To be able to bring a soul into a physical body, what a gift that is. I feel that my life is truly complete now that I've been able to bring in a soul that was waiting to come in and have an experience. And it's just been so cool to physically be with her, to hold her, to look at her. This is just one example. You could literally use anything in your life, nature or relationships, or the food that you eat, anything that you're passionate about. Enjoying that physical moment, the tangible feelings, like, it's so special. It's hard for me to put into words. I've just been doing so much reflection about it. The other night, I went into her room. She was upset. She woke up after sleeping for a couple hours, and she had some gas. And so I was trying to comfort her, and I was kind of sitting her up, and we had our little nightlight on, and she was feeling better and kind of like looking and wide awake at like 11 p.m. She should be sleeping, and looking at her little light. And then I was just talking to her, and I just calming her down. She said, what a blessing this is to be here, Valentina. And I was just looking at her face and watching her, and she's watching me. And, thank you for this house, and thank you for our health and our bodies. And thank you, universe, for taking care of us, and for just all the things that we have, and being here together in this moment. And she kind of just started like giggling as I was talking. And it was just like this moment that will forever be ingrained in my heart. And it was just so touching, like the small moments, like nothing else matters. It feels like when things like that happen, like nothing else really matters, but those moments of like connection and joy and emotion. And I was just looking at her face, and her little mouth smiling. And, one moment ago she was crying and in pain, and then she was calm and happy again, like the roller coaster of emotions, and being there with her through all of it and just holding her and comforting her physically. And I just continue every time I have moments like that, like, thank you, God, for the chance to be here in this physical realm with the soul. What an amazing gift. And I mean, some of this might seem obvious, but if you're not conscious to it, you kind of just, you're like, yeah, of course, it's great to have a kid. Like, yeah, Lauren, like it's cool, whatever. But when you really take a moment to slow down and just be in the moment truly and feel the feelings and absorb everything going on, it just feels so, like, it's so fulfilling. It's a soul like fulfillment that you can't get anywhere else. And I don't know, I've just been focusing so much lately on like what a gift. I think having the baby is like reminding me, like, we all went through this, coming from somewhere, your soul coming from somewhere, who knows where, into a physical body. And just this experience that we have, we get so busy day to day, we don't always think about it. Like, we're just used to being here, big deal. Like, you walk outside, you see a tree, I have a jacket on right now, or like, I have skin and hair that I can touch. But if you truly think about it, like, this is crazy. What an experience. So, I don't know. I just challenge you to slow down a little bit and really focus on this physical realm that we're in right now. It's crazy. We are on a Earth spinning around in space with like creatures and living trees and plants and air and gravity, and the sun is like a perfect distance just to keep us warm enough but not too hot that it kills us. And things are just happening, and that's only on our Earth right here in our little galaxy. Like, whoa, my mind is just blown. Like, when don't you just think about that sometimes? I mean, how can we not? We just get so busy in our little worlds that we don't really think about. We are literally on a planet spinning in space. Like, what is going on? So, just the gift of being here, it is incredible. And I am eternally grateful for this particular life and this particular moment on this particular planet with my soul family. And so, yeah, just something to give you hopefully some motivation to be conscious of what your physical life looks like right now. And that can be in any facet. If it's something like literally physically that you're going through, or mentally, or just to look around and observe your physical space that you're living in, or wherever you are at any moment. That's the cool thing. Anywhere you are at any moment, you can tune in, be in the moment, check your surroundings, and be grateful for this physical moment. So I don't know. I just encourage you to focus on this physical moment and this physical plane. And it's obviously a huge part of our experience as a human and our soul's growth. It's just one little tiny sand, little grain of sand in the eternal life of our soul. And it's fascinating and amazing. So, um, I'm in awe of it, and I'm grateful for my baby kind of waking me up, because, I try to be in the moment, but she's forcing me to be in the moment so much more. And, um, just reminding me like what a gift it is to be here physically, like that love, that's so amazing. And it's a deep soul love, but it's also just that physical chance to like hold her and be with her and laugh with her. And I feel that it's ingrained in my soul forever. So, um, if you believe in the Akashic records, if you're not familiar, that's basically any thought, any saying, any action, any event, anything that's ever happened. This podcast, me recording it right here in this chair, it is a piece of code that is just, recorded in eternal history, if you will. So anything and everything that's ever been done, you sitting, watching this video, any action that you take is like recorded in history. And so these moments that we get to basically experience and they're saved in eternity are very special. And I'm just so, so grateful for the chance to experience it and to be here sharing this with you. I hope that it is interesting to you, if you've never thought about things in this way. I think that's the whole reason that I do this, is because I hope if one person can hear this and think about one thing that I said and it helps them grow, that's what I'm trying to do here, is share my experiences and share my guests' experience and knowledge with you so that you can grow. And that's why I'm doing this podcast. And, you know, I don't know. I feel really grateful to be here. So I appreciate you listening, and I appreciate, any thoughts that you have. If you want to comment or follow me on Instagram, DM me at RealLaurenLive. I'd love to talk with you. I want to create a community, and, there's so many people out there doing this that have YouTube videos, and different spiritual people, even just in this sector. But everyone that I listen to, I feel that I learn something from. So there's a space for it all. And I am just excited to be contributing to it. And I know there's a lot of people that I've been listening to that I'm learning so much. I'm grateful for them. And what a beautiful part of this technology that we have to be able to do this, right? So sharing information in this information era, and it can be a lot and it can be overwhelming, but there's a lot of good stuff circulating out there in this time of awakening. So I hope that you enjoyed today. It was a bit all over the place, and like I said, just kind of flown out of my heart to you guys. But I just encourage you to pay attention to patterns in your life, and pay attention to the physical realm that you're in. And all we have is this moment. That's all that's ever guaranteed. And I don't know, if you can just really be in the moment and take things in. Wow, how special of a life it is. We get so wrapped up in everything that we forget sometimes just to be here and be now. And I really do believe that it is something we need to learn to master, is just being here and being now. Because again, that is all we really truly have. And it just gives such more fulfillment than always wanting the next thing and being half distracted. So I hope that you enjoy your moment today. Pick a time, and just wherever you are, whatever it is, be here, be now. And, let's just enjoy the time that we have on this earth. And let's help one another and love one another. And let's be grateful for all the experiences, the highs and lows that we get to experience as humans. It is quite a journey, and our souls were very brave to come here. I believe that we came here to help one another and help ourselves grow. And so let's keep doing that. And I wish you nothing but the best, many blessings. And thank you again for watching. You can find me on my website, Lauren.live, and again, Instagram at RealLaurenLive. And I look forward to chatting with you all more. We have some fun guests coming up in the following weeks. And I wish you nothing but the best today. Peace.